Good day, Move Fitness. Thank you for joining me today. We're going to talk about the glutes. But before we get going, I want to make sure everybody's doing well, happy, healthy, communicating, talking, staying socially connected. You know, that's extremely important, just like we kind of talk about on my soul sessions, how important that is to stay connected with people. So how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying healthy, staying physically distant, but not socially distant. I hope you're staying in communication and keeping your mind right, you know, journaling or talking with people to make sure that, you know, you're in the right kind of state of mind. I feel like we're right around the corner for some of this stuff to not fully be over with, but, you know, to start the process on integrating back into, you know, kind of that normal lifestyle. And it's almost there, so bear with us. We definitely miss you at the gym. Can't wait to see everybody. But again, we're going to talk about the glutes today, so we're just going to slow it down. I'll ultimately show you 4 exercises that can help strengthen your glutes. And you know, we can use this for foundational movements that you can do solo all by yourself. You can do these pre-warm-up to your leg day. You can do this on your off days. This can complement, you know, your big lifts such as your deadlifts and your squats. We'll talk a little bit about kind of core positioning and making sure that stays tight as we go through these 4 exercises. But the reason I want to talk about your glutes is one, personally, is I'm starting to rebuild my glute strength too as well, you know, as an athlete growing up. Soccer, basketball, softball, great glute strength. I was constantly in that defensive position, so that I didn't really have to worry about it. It just constantly was there, you know, with the lifting and whatnot throughout college and post. Then you kind of, you know, just like over everything, you kind of slack off on a little bit and you realize, man, my, you know, movements aren't as strong as they used to be. Well, we need to slow it down a little bit and get back to some foundational things. So that's why I want to talk about it. Also, number 2 is, you know, as trainers, once we start to see these knees cave in on your squat, or at the bottom of your squat, your knees are caving in, that's kind of a trigger for us, which is glute activation is not happening. You know, something in that glute is not firing, or the glutes aren't strong enough. So let me show you just a couple of those, what I see real quick. My head's gonna cut off when I stand up, but just kind of watch from my hips down. What happens is we'll see sometimes pain inside or outside of the knees, but really what happens is when we push up at the bottom of that squat, so we get down into our squat, and then when we're trying to come up, those knees pop in. Did you see that? So I come down, and what happens, we'll see, as people try and push up, those knees come in. So glutes are being turned off, right? Not a whole lot of strength. Or we get to the bottom of the squat, deep, we're starting to get deep, and the knees start caving in before we even push up. So again, that's when we're seeing, okay, the glutes need to get activated. We need to do some strengthening in those. So these glute exercises, strengthening exercises will help with that squat pattern and help you out a little bit. So the glutes, right, there's 4 things that the glutes do, and within the body: hip extension, lateral abduction, rotational abduction, adduction, and the pelvis tilt. So hip extension is, you know, walking front to back. So that extension when I'm pushing backwards, right? So that, or you know, on that deadlift right there. So your lateral abduction, right? So lateral abduction is here, right? A rotational abduction, adduction, that's glutes. And the pelvis tilt, right? So back or forward, right? Forward, glutes activated here. So that's what the glutes are gonna control, right? Really those movements, and gosh, we walk, we pick stuff up, deadlift, we're constantly moving our legs out and in, so the glutes control a lot, and we want those nice and strong. So let's focus on a few exercises on how to work on those movement patterns. First, we talked a little bit about core stability being one of the things that it's going to be really important. And for you guys and girls out there, ladies and gents, focus on this rib cage pushing down, right? So I'm pushing down, I'm tight, as if somebody's gonna poke me in the sides and try and tickle me. Once we do that, our abs tighten. That's what we want, right? So we don't want this big breath in our rib cage to extend and rip us apart. We've got to bring it back in. So try and tuck that rib cage down, right? And keep those glutes tight, which forces this to contract. That'll keep that core strong as we go through some of those movements. The first thing is going to be a glute bridge. And the glute bridge, your feet are going to act like they're nailed into the ground. And you're really going to push from those heels, and the hips are going to go towards the ceiling. Okay, so let's check this movement out. Arms are down flat, heels are in, and I'm pushing. Now this is, again, a glute exercise, so I should feel this in my glutes. I should be squeezing my butt cheeks together as if there's a walnut in between them, and I want to crack that. So push those booty cheeks together. Now, here's something we see as trainers that happens is an extension, hyperextension of the lower back, which takes out your glutes, doesn't activate them. So we see this. We don't want to see that, right? I've got a really big arch here, right? Really big arch. So that's going to eliminate that. I'm going to feel that all in my lower back. And where I want to feel it is in my glutes. So I keep this, again, nice and tight. I don't right here have that big arch, right? And down, glutes are tight, hips point to the ceiling. If I feel it anywhere other than my glutes, right, in your hamstrings, you still shouldn't really feel that. Maybe move the positioning of your feet closer to your body, right? So that's a really good one. When you start getting advanced on that movement, you can do single leg bridges, right? But just let's focus on, that glute bridge just for now, right? And then you can advance up and progress, not regress, which is backwards, but progress, go forwards as we get those a little bit stronger. So start with that movement, number one. And number two, right? So that first movement was that hip extension, right? Where I was walking, right? So that's gonna activate that. Next, we're gonna have a prone single leg extension. So a prone single leg extension, right? So stomach's gonna be flat, your core's braced, your forehead can be on your hands. You're gonna lift one leg up for hip extension. Now this is a really little movement, and again, if you start really extending that leg out, and I'll show you in a second, you're gonna feel it in your lower back, and that's where you don't wanna feel it. So a prone means I'm gonna be face down. Again, my hands, and this is why I was kind of talking to you beforehand, hands, my core is braced here. So again, I'm trying to push my rib cage down into my hips, or pushing it down. My head's right here. Just a little movement, right? So you shouldn't be able to, like your hips are coming off the ground. Keep your hip on the ground. Here. Right now I'm in triple extension by pointing my toe out. Again, you shouldn't get too high. If you do, your back is gonna get engaged and not your glutes. So again, nice little movement with your foot coming right off the ground. And that's gonna go single leg, so just one at a time, right? Up and down. And really what ultimately we're gonna do like 2 sets of 8 of these, of everything. So just light little stuff. Number 3, we got a lateral sideways, right? Lateral sideways fire hydrant, right? Remember this from way back in the day. We're gonna go on all 4. Hands in the ground, knees on the ground, core's engaged, right? And we're not gonna rotate through the lower back, and the leg's just gonna go out and in, right? So this is your lateral fire hydrant, right? Here. Sideways, right? That's that lateral hip movement that I was talking about. Abductor, pushing it out, right? We had talked about this. So that's what that's gonna work on right out on the outside. Here, again, all 4, core's engaged, so I'm tucked. Nice and tight. So what you don't want to do is open all the way up so your hips shift, right? You don't want that. Again, now you're rotating back. Back's going to start to feel that. Keep your hips and your shoulders, try to do your best to keep them aligned. And you'll kind of get higher and higher as you go, as you get more flexibility. You might be super tight, kind of like myself. I can't get that high just yet, but I'll get there as I strengthen everything, right? And loosen up and get some mobility in there too as well. So that was that lateral sideways out and in, basically, fire hydrant, right? Remember the old dogs peeing on a fire hydrant? That's what I call that. The 4th one is that rotational now. Now we're gonna rotate that in and out, right? Knee towards the chest, and then circle it back. So same position, core's tight. So that rib cage is tucked. So now I'm gonna come in, open, and back. Into the chest, open up, and back. Chest, open, rotate, and back. Okay. So again, nice lateral one. That's gonna be great for the outer glutes, right? Really strengthen those and keeping those legs from going out and in. So 2 rounds, 8 each. Your glutes should be on fire after those 2 rounds and 8 repetitions each. Again, let's go back to the beginning, which we had our glute bridge, right? Glute bridge, prone single leg extension, lateral sideways, out and ins, fire hydrants, and then your rotational hip circles. So let's go through that one more time real quick. We're gonna have hands down flat, knees back, glutes, right? Bridge here, hip bridge, without hyperextending, prone single leg extension. And we're gonna go fire hydrant, straight out. Then we're gonna get that rotation here. Again, without fully rotating the hip and the shoulder, right? Try and keep those all in a line. You guys are gonna, again, feel those glutes really fire up. And again, you can use them on your off day, pre-workout, incorporate them into those big lifts, right? Great foundational stuff to help you guys out. Really strengthen those glutes and help with that knee pain. Also be able to help with those knees that might be caving in during those squat patterns. So you guys have a good one. Hopefully that was very helpful, informative for you guys. I appreciate you joining me today. Stay safe, stay strong. Move Fitness family, community, Move Tribe. We love you and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.